Hey everyone, Mike here from MLive.com. I'm joined by Justin Rogers. Wrapping up the first week of training camp, Justin, and we saw a scrimmage today, game-like conditions. I was impressed with what I saw from Matthew Stafford today. I thought he was pretty sharp, and I think he's been pretty good throughout the week. What were your impressions of what you saw from Stafford this week?
100% agree. They first drive, the offense drove about 64 yards. I didn't keep track of the plays, but it was around 8 plays.
Yeah. He was 4 for 4.
4 for 4.
Yep.
He had a really nice long completion to Eric Ebron, capped it off with a touchdown toss to Reggie Bush, who had 2 receptions on the drive. And it just was a nice progression for him to go through. No Calvin Johnson today, which is always a big deal when Stafford doesn't have Calvin Johnson, when he's dissected the most. To make all those plays against the first team defense, the offensive line hasn't been great at times.
Yeah.
The pads haven't been on, so it's tough to evaluate. But Stafford's faced a little bit more pressure than normal. But I think he's handling himself really well in the pocket and making good throws.
The tough thing to judge sometimes with workouts like these is, if Stafford plays well, is it he's playing really well or the defense is struggling? It's kind of this dual dichotomy thing going on. But certainly I thought Stafford was on point. The pressure stuff would be concerning if they were hitting. I think the defensive line was, I thought, in his face quite a bit. But I liked what I saw from Stafford, and he hooked up with Ebron on that deep pass that you mentioned before. And we've made a lot this week about Ebron and his drops, and no drops from him today. He did haul in that deep pass, and I talked to him after practice, and he emphasized that he's getting more comfortable, and it's tough enough to play tight end in the NFL, and he says he feels like he's learning 4 positions at once, so his head's spinning a little bit. But he told me he's not concerned, that he's on track, and that he thinks he's going to have the drops shored up in time for the start of the season.
That would be a big storyline. I mean,
Yeah.
I know we're talking about him. I think drops are just going to be part of who he is. A lot of the top tight ends have drop issues. Jimmy Graham, Rob Gronkowski have both experienced significant drop issues, and it's more important that he makes the catches when they matter the most.
What do you think? We're just wrapping up the first week of practice, and what do you think was the most encouraging thing you saw from the Lions this week?
Ooh, on the spot.
Yeah.
I liked what I saw from the defensive line.
Yeah.
Guys like Jason Jones, George Johnson coming out of nowhere, Devin Taylor, a lot of pressure off the edge. We know what the Lions have in the middle with Nick Fairley and Ndamukong Suh. That's not going to change. Those guys are going to be consistent. They're going to be dominant, assuming Fairley stays healthy. The edge is a concern. Ansa's out, and Jones looks really good. He looks healthy. And then, I think Taylor, we're expecting a breakout there. He hasn't been repping as much with the first team, but I think he's going to continue to climb the depth chart and be a positive contributor this year.
2 guys I wanted to mention were Rashean Mathis. I think he's had some moments that he's been really good. He had a pick, I believe, yesterday in practice, and he's had some really nice moments in coverage. And I think he's getting up there in age, and so I was coming to camp curious about where he would be in his legs and that kind of thing. And I've been pleased with him, and I think he's going to be just fine, at least given how he's played through the first week. And the other guy is, I just think Matthew Stafford's played really well, and I think that he's surpassed my expectations for what I thought he would be in the first week of camp, given some of the struggles that we had seen in OTAs. And I think we should be very encouraged by what we've seen from Stafford in terms of his accuracy. I think he's really adapting well to what they're trying to do with him.
Mathis got his hands on a lot of passes last year, but he hasn't had interception in 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
He's had a few in camp. They're going to be more aggressive on defense. If he can come away with a couple picks this year and continue to be the defender he was last year with just getting his hands on passes, knocking a lot down, and he can turn some of those into turnovers, it's going to be a huge positive for that defensive backfield.
With Stafford, you can already see, you especially saw it today with Kelvin out, but you see that connection from Stafford to Golden Tate starting to ramp up a little bit, and I think they're finding a chemistry between the two. Golden Tate provides a ton of energy at practice, and I'm sure you've seen the same thing, but he's catching balls, and he's not just taking off down the field. He's putting jukes on guys and moving around and spin moves and playing to the crowd a little bit. But you can see why he likes to go by the Showtime name. He likes to put on a show, and he's fast. He's really fast. He's got a nice first step. I think yards after catch are something to watch for with him, and I think the Lions should be pretty pleased with that development with the Stafford to Tate, really getting comfortable with each other.
We talk about his hands a lot, but he did lead the league in yards after catch last year per reception basis. So that's going to be a really valuable weapon with a guy like Calvin Johnson stretching the field, taking away coverage, leaving less underneath. Tate should continue to excel in that area.
Week 1 is in the books. Lions take a break on Sunday. We'll be back at it Monday next week for Week 2, and of course Week 2 ends with the first preseason game. So this thing's going to get hot and heavy here pretty quick. For Justin Rogers, I'm Kyle Meinke. We're M Life. Keep it right here.